It is that time again, 3 years. I've had this car 3 years. And by this car, I mean this Vauxhall Insignia. It's a 2016 model. It's an SRI VX trim, which means that it's an SRI with bigger wheels, body kit, and a few little sort of styling trims. So, as per my other review of the Nissan Qashqai, which was the 3-year review, I'm going to run through the things that, over the 3 years, that I have liked and things that I have disliked. So I'll start with the things I've liked. And I'll start with the interior. I like the interior very much. It has a good quality feel to it. I think these materials are all very nice where it counts. Down by your feet, things do get a bit hard and scratchy, I suppose, but then that's where my feet are, and my feet are covered in dirt and grit and all kinds of crap, and I would much rather that be on an easy to clean, hard wearing surface than some soft, difficult to clean plastics that mark up. So I don't have a problem with that. I like the instrumentation, the layout. It's better than the first Insignia, which I had back in 2010. The satellite screen, the nav screen, is generally in the right place. It doesn't catch too much reflection from the sun when you're driving, but that's also because this car hasn't got a ridiculous glass roof, as is so common and so trendy at the moment. So I like the heater layouts. I like to have a knob for the volume. I don't often use the steering wheel. I like to have a knob for the fan speed, and I like to have a knob for the temperature. I would much rather set them quickly like that rather than have to go through a menu and a touchscreen, which while I'm driving is just a distraction. Whilst we're on the subject of the cooling and the heating system, the AC in this car is superb. It's really, really good. Certainly cools quite a large car like this in virtually no time at all, and maintains it really nicely. This particular version of the Insignia doesn't have the split AC, which I've never really understood anyway, because they're in such close proximity that the temperature sort of blends together anyway. What else do I like? I like the steering wheel. If you've watched my Qashqai review, you'll know that I do like a steering wheel to be pleasurable to hold. After all, when you're driving the car, you're holding it the entire time, so it has to be good. This one's nice and fat. It's got some nice grips there, and it's got this trendy little flat bottom here, which I suppose if you're in a race car is probably all well and good, but on the road it makes absolutely no difference at all, but it does look good. I like the layout of the controls, the cruise control and everything like that. That works fine, but then again, you get used to those no matter what car you have. Things like wipers all work as you might expect. You've got enough speeds and enough settings. That's fine. They're not automatic on this car. The lights are automatic. They do come on automatically. And that's the one thing that really I haven't been over impressed with, is the headlights. Considering they're quite large at the front of the car, they're not actually that good. I find that the beam is very, very direct and quite sharply cut off in front of the car, even on main beam. There is a height adjuster, and I do find myself adjusting them up to get illumination of road signs, which of course is quite helpful in driving at night. What else? The seats. I like the seats. The seats are super comfy. The driver's seat is adjustable for depth, and it's got electrical adjustments on the side for tilt, and you can adjust the lumbar support and all the rest of it. That's really good. Not on the passenger seat, that's just got the usual sort of adjustments you might expect, but it's still super comfy. The back seats, I've never really been driven in the back, but I am told that the car is a very comfortable car to be a passenger in. Other things I like are the dashboard is excellent. It's got everything you could possibly ever need. Rev counter, speedometer, tells you how hot the thing's running and how much fuel you've got left. In the middle is a little display which can be set to show your tyre pressures, your speed, your 2-trip computers, and it'll also blink up warning lights when it's too cold and when it needs a service, or when the door's shut and all that sort of stuff. And it will give you your sat-nav junctions as you come up, so you don't have to divert your eyes to the side to the sat-nav, you can just see on the front. Excellent. Works really well. Now then, when it comes to the infotainment, it's not brilliant. It's okay. It's okay. That's what I will say. The sat-nav is a little clunky. I've seen TomTom units, my daughter has one in her car, which is better at navigating than this actually is, in terms of finding your route. In terms of what it displays and everything like that, this is very good, but it's not actually very good at always finding the best route, and it sometimes gets fixated on a certain way to do things. But the update, the live traffic update and everything like that works, and that works whether you're using the navigation or not. It will just alert you if you're driving down the motorway and there's an accident and congestion. It will alert you to that, which is quite nice. It has Apple Play and Android Play. I've only ever used Apple Play. That seems to work. Incoming text, you can reply to those. The speech to text works really, really well. That works fine, but that's more to do with the phone, really, I suppose. And you can tell it to dial people's numbers and things like that, and that all works fine. I've not had a problem with that. That's good. The glove box is good. It's got enough space in it for stuff. You've got some door pockets which take stuff. They won't take any bottles of water or anything like that, but you know, who cares about that particularly? That makes a big bulky door pocket. It's got a couple of cup holders here for coffee. I tend not to use them for that and just have them full of shit. What else is there? That's about it for the interior and sort of what I like or not. Generally, I find it a very nice place to be. Now, moving on to the mechanicals and the way it drives. This is a 1.6 diesel, and it's the GM Whisper diesel, which was their sort of quiet diesel. And in the most case, it lives up to what they say. It sounds like a diesel when you start it, then it quietens down and it doesn't sound like a diesel. It certainly doesn't drive like a diesel. And even though this is a 1.6 with, I think, 140 horsepower, this is as quick to 60, 70 miles per hour as my previous 2-litre 160 horsepower Insignia was. After that, the 2-litre one continues to go a bit more, but this is certainly quick enough. You wouldn't think it was a 1.6. I've had people in this car, and we've been bowling along motorways and A roads, and they've actually asked me what the engine is because it's performing so well. They were under the impression that it was a 2-litre plus diesel, but it's not. 1.6 turbo diesel. There's a little bit of turbo lag, not a huge amount, certainly not as bad as it was on the 2-litre. This is quite manageable. The 6-speed gearbox is nice. The ratios, I think, are well chosen. It's easy to change. It's got quite a long throw on it, but you soon get used to that. The gear knob's nice to hold, and the engine and the transmission work well together. The steering, nicely weighted. The lock is okay, I suppose, for a car of this size. The general ride, it's an SRI, so it rides a little bit lower to the ground than the others, and this is on 19-inch wheels with 45 series tyres, so the ride is quite stiff. If you wanted a better ride, then I would avoid these wheels and possibly not go for the 19-inch. They look fantastic though, and the tyres, they come with Goodyear F1 directional asymmetric tyres on them, which grip and give very direct steering, which makes this, for quite a large car, quite a spirited drive if you're in the mood on the twisty bits, and it's certainly better than my previous Insignia in that respect. However, there is one proviso to that. That is in the dry. These Goodyear F1 are not a good tyre in the wet. I find that they lose feel, and on overbanding or drain covers, that sort of thing, if you happen to hit one of those when you're accelerating, the traction control will cut in. They will slip. They have that little traction. They seem to clear water all right, and I've not had them aquaplane or anything like that. But when it gets cold, certainly in the winter, this car with these tyres in snowy, icy conditions is completely and utterly useless. It is terrible. On sort of cold, damp roundabouts in the winter, it will slide if you drive it with any sort of vigour at all or application of the throttle. The traction control will cut in. These tyres are definitely not all season, and I think it's something that really you should be aware of. Fuel economy, for me, this is very, very impressive. I do tend to sort of make progress, as it were, and I'm averaging around town 43 miles to the gallon, and then on a run, which involves motorway, A road, that sort of thing, 150, 200 miles, I am averaging 56 miles to the gallon. Now, that for me is just fantastic. I can't really expect any better than that from a car that weighs just over 1.5 tons. So, what else have we got? What else don't I like? Really, I think Vauxhall could have made it possible to drop the rear seats from inside the boot. That would have made it just a little bit easier when you're putting a long load in. I'm not going to labour too much on boot capacities and floor space and all that sort of thing, because really that's something you can just go along to a car showroom or a dealership and look inside and see if it's got the space you need. It's an estate car. It's 16 foot long. It can get a lot of stuff in it, and it can seat 5 adults and still get a lot of stuff in it. I think that's basically all you need to know about it. Reliability, nothing has gone wrong with it in the entire 2 years. It's never failed to start on a morning, no matter how cold it is. Talking of which though, on a cold morning, it does take quite a long time to get the heater going. The car does take quite a long time to warm up. Now, it's not the thermostat stuck open or anything like that. It always has just taken a long time to warm up before you get any heat through. As regards a family car, which is what it is, that is economical, reasonably cheap to run, I've found it over 3 years reliable. It's really nice to drive. It's a nice thing to travel in. It's a nice place to sit. You can get loads of stuff in it. So for family who have to take things to their recycling, shopping, fill it up for camping trips, holiday, luggage, pick up your nan and move her stuff about, for all kinds of things like that. It is very, very good indeed. And in fact, for most families and most family drivers, it's all the car you'd ever need. It's just that being a Vauxhall, it's not the car you want. As with YouTube, please hit the likes button, subscribe if you want, and leave comments below. Even though I only post every 3 years with a car review, I have got some plans to do some other car reviews, but not going to be obviously long term like this one. So if you like this one, it might be worth coming back in the not too distant future to get some more. So the Insignia Vauxhall, excellent.